gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our first women's basketball coach in a number of years, restarting the program. We are so excited to be able to announce to you today Mr. Brian Ortmeier.
It's great to be here to start a new tradition and to completely start a new program here at Laramie County Community College. It's exciting. It's exciting for us, and I know for the surrounding community as well. So we've got a lot of work to do in a short amount of time, and we're ready to hit the ground running.
Coach, will you talk about the process of how this came to be? You sitting here as the head coach today.
Well, there's different publications that you can find out about different coaching jobs, and I was really intrigued by the job here in Cheyenne. And so once I found out, it just turns into a process as far as applying and then working through the interview process and actually coming up here and just fell in love with Cheyenne and the campus. And you know, like I said, it's a great opportunity and one that I'm definitely ready to take on. So that's kind of part of the process.
What was it that was attractive to you about this job?
The region. I'm originally from Nebraska, so it gets me closer to home based on where I was previously at. So that was obviously a very enticing thing for me. Being able to recruit the Cheyenne and Denver areas as well, and also being able to go back into Nebraska and recruit. So like I said, it's a great area in terms of basketball, and hopefully we can get a lot of those student athletes to the school.
Coach, what's going to be the biggest obstacle when you're coming into a program that's been dormant for 24 years? How do you get that started?
Well, I think the excitement's always there. It's the quickest thing and the hardest thing to turn around on is signing day was last week. So again, we've got a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. And again, I've been making phone calls and you know, getting the recruits here and getting them excited. So I think that's really the toughest thing is just again, getting those athletes to campus in a short amount of time and making sure that we have a good quality product next year for the first season.
What intrigued you most of taking this position and taking on this, something LCCC hasn't seen in over 2 decades, women's basketball?
Well, it's again, we get to start all the new traditions, and when I look at the athletic department, I see a lot of success. Every single program. And again, that's something that definitely pulls a coach to the school, is seeing that overall success from the entire athletic department. There's a lot of great things happening just even at the college as far as renovation and new buildings. And again, I look to see where the college is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And that's really the exciting thing for me, is knowing that there's that commitment to the school to improve everything. And again, that's one thing that really pulled me to the school.
What style of basketball could we expect from your team next year?
We want to get out and run. We want to play an exciting style of basketball. Again, in the past, I've coached teams that have scored anywhere from 75 to 85 points a game. So again, I think based on what we're going to be able to find personnel-wise in our first season, we want to put on a product that's going to be exciting to watch. So again, that's something that you can kind of look out for.
How important will be recruiting not only Cheyenne, but the state of Wyoming?
It's very important. The previous 2 schools that I've been at, and actually 3 schools if you look back, we like to stay local. We like to recruit the area and the region. And again, whether it's a small school with graduating classes of 10 or you know, you can step into Cheyenne. If the student athlete can play and they're committed to success on and off the court, that's definitely somebody that we want in our program. So again, if there's athletes out there in Wyoming, you know, we need players. So we're definitely looking.
Will you talk about a little bit about your resume coming in here, where you were previously, some of your accomplishments as a coach?
Well, I've been in 3 rebuilding projects, and every single time it's been a complete overhaul. So again, we've always had that success that when I left the program, they've gotten to a position where we've doubled the wins. And again, knowing how strong this region is and looking at kind of some of our past games that we've played against teams from out here, I really think that what we do out at Colorado Northwestern is going to translate very well as far as building the program. It's kind of hot up here.
Now's your chance.
How big of a staff are you going to have?
I'll have one assistant coach. So again, that's something that we'll look at as a process, whether it's somebody that I've worked with in the past. I have an assistant coach at my previous school that I've been in contact with as well, and we've been working together for 3 years. So we're very familiar with how we run practice, how we recruit, and I'd love to have him on board too. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what happens.
Do you know what the time frame is for hiring that position then, or?
Sometime this summer.
Okay.
So again, it's obviously the sooner the better, so we can hit the road and get out to as many kids as we can. Again, I think it's something that'll happen later this summer.
I know it's still early on, you just stepped foot on campus, but what's kind of your plans and your goal to get rolling in the next couple weeks and next couple months?
Well, it's recruit, and you've got to call around like crazy and contact high school coaches and just hit the road. I mean, you have to get out and see a lot of students in a short amount of time. So that's step one, and then again, once they get to campus, getting them into the system that we plan to use and moving forward in the process in terms of building that chemistry and getting them familiar with each other. Because it's a unique situation. Generally, you have returners, you have sophomores, you kind of have that returning leadership. But for us, it's, again, everybody's going to be new to the program, and it's a lot of relationships that have to develop in a short amount of time. Again, about 3 months until we tip off. So it's fun. I mean, it's exciting, and again, it's all about recruiting and getting the athletes here. And then we plan to have a lot of success in Region 9 this year.
Tell us about your family.
Well, I wish they could have made the trip today. I think, I'm sure I'm getting pretty red up here. She'd be giving me a hard time. So, but I have a fiance back in Glenwood Springs out in Colorado, and she'll be making the move with me soon here. And I also have a little 2-month-old that's back there, Trent. So he'll be really excited. Hopefully we have a lot of babysitters in our program that can help take care of him as well. So, but again, they'll be making the move here hopefully sometime this summer.
I hear Scott's a great babysitter.
Okay,
Great with
perfect.
kids.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Just building a team, getting that first team in here and getting into practice. So I was telling a couple of the people off on the side, this is fun to do at times, but the great thing is getting into practice and actually putting in the work. So again, just having that team get into practice, I think practice number 1 will be pretty exciting.
So you kind of have the luxury of building your team. You don't have those, you don't have the sophomores who are coming back. Everybody you get is your players.
Well, and again, that's a really interesting thing about starting a program. When I had taken the job at Colorado Northwestern, they had, I think it was 2 players returning, and one was going to start out the season playing volleyball. So it was essentially kind of the same situation. We had to find a lot of players in a short amount of time. So again, going through that once, now I kind of have a pretty good basis for what things we need to adjust starting this program here. So again, you learn some things from one job to the next, and we'll make those adjustments when we recruit, and we'll get after it.
Are you planning on stealing some of those volleyball players?
I've seen a lot of tall girls on campus, Coach. We might have to do some asking around.
What are your expectations for the program in the next few years?
Well, we want to win a lot of ball games. We want to graduate a lot of student athletes. We want to have a strong team GPA, and we want them to be good representatives in the community. Again, we want the complete student athlete in our program. So those are a lot of the things that are going to tie into what we look for in the recruiting process. And again, we're here to build a program and win basketball games. So that's obviously things that we're going to talk about a lot in competing in practice every single day. So those are the things that I'll talk about for year 1. I don't want to talk about win totals or anything like that. You know, if you take care of the other things, that will take care of itself down the road.
Who are your basketball mentors, I guess? Like, who do you look to for inspiration?
I'm a huge fan of Tom Izzo at Michigan State. I feel like in terms of when they talk about the coaching legends in college basketball, he gets overlooked a lot. But somehow his teams are always in the Final Four. You know, they start outside the top 10 or they're outside the top 5, and yet they're still there, you know, late in March. Not this season. They didn't quite make it out of the first round. So, but again, that's what I like. I think, again, a lot of people will look at us as kind of the underdog program this year. But again, I'm very familiar with the region in terms of the teams that we're going to play on the schedule and just the recruiting territory. And again, I want to make sure that we're successful in year one.
How do you try to sell a recruit on a team that hasn't had a women's basketball team in over 20 years?
Well, they're going to set all the records. You know? So there's a lot of newness to this and a lot of excitement. Again, it's every tradition that we start is going to be the first one. Every player that steps foot on campus is going to be the first time since the early 90s. And again, I think Cheyenne sells itself. I think the school sells itself and the academics and just the athletic department as a whole. So again, it's compared to a lot of the places that I've been, there's a lot of great things just here on this campus that is going to make it very recruitable. It's a great place to recruit too. So, and like I said, just the newness of the program, I think a lot of players will be attracted to that as well. I'm not used to this. I hope I've looked at the right spots when we've been doing this so far. But thank you everybody for coming out. I really appreciate everybody being in the gym today. And again, anything that you want to find out about the program or if you have any questions for me, love to answer them. But again, we want to get this thing going and build a really strong, exciting program that the city of Cheyenne can be really proud of.